The banner stretched across our company's grand lobby, its gold letters gleaming under the crystal chandeliers. Passing the torch to our worthy child. I stood in the corner of the crowded reception, gripping my champagne glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. My sister Victoria's laughter echoed through the room as she charmed yet another board member. And here she is, our rising star. My father's voice boomed through the microphone. The future of Mitchell Industries, Victoria Mitchell. The crowd erupted in applause as Victoria glided toward the podium in her designer suit, every inch the corporate princess she cultivated herself to be. At 28, she'd never actually worked a day in the company, but that didn't seem to matter to anyone. I'm Emily Mitchell, 32, and for the past decade, I poured my heart and soul into our family's company. While Victoria was posting Instagram shots from business school parties, I was working 16-hour days, learning every aspect of our operations from the ground up. I started in the mailroom, worked my way through every department, and eventually became our chief operating officer. Though my parents conveniently forgot to mention that part in tonight's speeches. Emily, darling, fix your hair. My mother materialized beside me, her perfectly manicured hands already reaching to adjust my appearance. You look like you've been working all day. I have been, Mom. The Anderson merger doesn't close itself. She sighed, that familiar sound of disappointment I'd grown accustomed to. You always focus on the wrong things. Look at your sister. She understands presentation, networking. That's what running a company is about. Before I could respond, Victoria's voice cut through the crowd. Of course, I have to thank my big sister, Emily. Her practiced smile didn't reach her eyes. Someone has to handle the paperwork while I focus on the bigger picture. More laughter, more applause. I knocked back my champagne, wishing it were something stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, my father continued as I stepped down as CEO of Mitchell Industries. I'm proud to announce that, effective immediately, Victoria will be taking over as Chief Executive Officer. Her fresh perspective and Harvard MBA make her the perfect choice to lead us into the future. The room spun slightly. We hadn't discussed this. There hadn't been any board meetings, no succession planning sessions. Just my father's unilateral decision to hand over our $50 million company to someone whose biggest achievement was making the dean's list at Harvard. Once, I slipped out onto the balcony, the cool evening air helping to clear my head. 10 years of work, of proving myself, of building something real, and it meant nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from James, our chief financial officer, and one of my closest allies in the company. This is wrong, Em. The board won't stand for it. I typed back, the board wasn't consulted. Dad made the decision alone. That's not legal. As COO, you should have been involved in the succession planning. I knew he was right, but what could I do? Challenge my father publicly? Demand what I'd earned? In our family, falling in line wasn't just expected, it was required. The glass door slid open behind me. Hiding out here won't change anything. Victoria's voice dripped with false sympathy. You know this makes sense, Emily. I'm the one with the prestigious degree, the connections. You're just, well, you're good with details. I turned to face her. Do you even know our profit margins for last quarter? Our major clients? The status of our ongoing projects? She waved a hand dismissively. That's what I have you for, sis. You can keep handling the boring stuff while I focus on vision and growth. And what exactly is your vision, Victoria? Besides redecorating the executive office, her smile turned sharp. Careful, Emily. That kind of attitude might make me reconsider keeping you around at all. The threat hung in the air between us. Victoria might not know the business, but she knew how to play people, especially our parents. One word from her about my negativity or resistance to change, and I'd be out, 10 years of work erased with a single conversation. Back inside, the party continued in full swing. Board members congratulated Victoria, already courting favor with the new CEO. My father beamed with pride while my mother fluttered around taking photos for social media. No one seemed to notice or care that the person who'd actually been running the company for the past 3 years was standing alone by the bar. James appeared beside me, his expression grim. The Anderson merger paperwork needs your signature by morning. I know. I'll head back to the office after this wraps up. He lowered his voice. You don't have to stay here and take this, Em. You're better than this. Maybe he was right, but Mitchell Industries wasn't just a company to me, it was my legacy too. I'd watched my grandfather build it from nothing, see my father expand it into what it was today. Every late night, every missed vacation, every sacrifice had been for this. And now? Emily, my father's voice cut through my thoughts. Stop hiding and come congratulate your sister properly. I plastered on my professional smile, the one I perfected over years of dealing with difficult clients, and made my way to where Victoria held court. I know this must be hard for you, my mother whispered as I passed her, but Victoria has such natural leadership qualities. You understand, don't you? I understood perfectly. Victoria had always been their golden child, the one with charm and charisma. I was the reliable one, the workhorse, the one they counted on but never celebrated. Congratulations, Victoria. I kept my voice steady. I look forward to working together. She pulled me into a hug for the cameras, whispering in my ear, "Don't worry, I'll let you keep your little projects, as long as you remember who's in charge now." That night, long after the party ended, I sat in my office reviewing the Anderson merger documents. The walls were covered in industry awards, all in the company's name, though I had been the one to earn them. My MBA from Stanford, completed at night while working full-time, hung in a corner, overshadowed by the larger photos of Victoria's Harvard graduation. My phone buzzed again. James, had an interesting conversation with some board members tonight. They're not happy about being blindsided. There might be room to challenge this. I stared at his message for a long time. Challenge it? Go against my father's wishes? Create a public spectacle that would tear the family apart? Another text came through, this time from Victoria. B2, I'm going to need your office. The executive suite needs some updating and your space has the better view. Clear out by Monday. I looked around at the office I had earned, at the evidence of years of dedication and hard work. Something inside me shifted, a lifetime of acquiescence finally giving way to something stronger. I opened my laptop and began to type. Dear Board of Directors, I regret to inform you of my immediate resignation from the position of Chief Operating Officer at Mitchell Industries. The words flowed easily now. 10 years of suppressed feelings, of swallowing my pride, of watching less qualified people take credit for my work. It all poured onto the page. My phone buzzed again. My mother this time. Victoria's planning some major changes. She's thinking of restructuring your department. Try to be supportive. It's what's best for the company. Best for the company? They had no idea what was best for the company because they had never bothered to actually learn the business. Victoria saw it as her birthright, my parents saw it as her destiny, but I saw it for what it really was, a living, breathing entity that deserved better than to be handed over to someone who saw it as nothing more than a status symbol. I worked through the night, not just on my resignation letter, but on something bigger. The business plan I had been developing in secret for the past year, the client relationships I had cultivated, the strategy I had kept to myself because I knew this day might come. As the sun rose over the city skyline, I finished both documents. The resignation letter was professional, concise, and gave no hint of my true feelings. The business plan was comprehensive, detailed, and would shake Mitchell Industries to its core. My phone had several missed calls, all from family members, all probably wanting to make sure I wasn't making trouble. I ignored them and dialed a different number. James, remember that conversation we had about starting our own firm? How serious were you? His response was immediate. You know I'm in. Half the department will follow you out the door. Good. Because I'm not just leaving. I'm taking the Anderson merger with me. Check your email. I need your thoughts on the business plan. For the first time since the retirement party, I smiled. Victoria wanted to be CEO. Fine. She could have the title, the office, the empty accolades. I was taking something much more valuable. My self-respect, my expertise, and the future I had earned. I gathered my personal items into a box, leaving behind the awards and certificates. They could keep those, I'd earn new ones. As I walked out of my office for the last time, I paused to straighten the Harvard MBA photo hanging crookily on the wall. Good luck, sis, I whispered. You're going to need it. The security guard looked surprised to see me leaving so early. I was usually the first one in, last one out. Everything okay, Miss Mitchell? I handed him my security badge and smiled. Everything's perfect, Joe. Take care of yourself. My phone buzzed one last time as I reached my car. Victoria again. Emergency meeting at 9 a.m. to discuss my new vision for the company. Attendance is mandatory. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I pulled out of the parking garage and headed toward the sunrise, toward a future that was finally, truly mine. The Mitchell name might belong to them, but success, that belonged to whoever earned it. And I was just getting started. The news of my resignation hit Mitchell Industries like a tornado. I was sitting in my newly leased office space, reviewing lease terms with James when my phone exploded with notifications. "How dare you?" Victoria's message came first. "You can't just quit without proper notice." Then my mother. "Emily, what are you thinking? This tantrum is beneath you." And finally, my father. "Get back to the office immediately. We need to discuss your behavior." I switched my phone to silent and turned to James, who was grinning. "How many resignation letters hit HR this morning?" 17 so far, he replied, checking his tablet, including the entire merger team, most of senior accounting, and 3 department heads. Victoria is having quite the first day as CEO. I didn't take pleasure in the chaos. Well, maybe a little, but this wasn't about revenge. This was about building something of my own, something earned through merit rather than birthright. The Anderson merger team followed me because I built those relationships. They trusted my leadership because they'd seen it in action, not just in boardroom presentations. The client had already reached out, making it clear they wanted to work with me, not the Mitchell name. Ms. Mitchell, my new assistant Sarah, poked her head in. "Mr. Anderson is on line 1, and your father is in the lobby." I grabbed my phone, suddenly alert. "My father? He's demanding to see you. Security is asking how to proceed." I took a deep breath. This confrontation was inevitable, but I'd hoped to have a few more days to prepare. "Let him up." "James, stay please." Minutes later, Richard Mitchell stormed into my office, his face red with anger. He stopped short when he saw the space. Modern, professional, already bearing the logo of my new company, Summit Enterprises. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he demanded. I met his gaze steadily. "Starting my own firm." I thought the resignation letter was clear. "Clear? You abandoned your post." Victoria had to cancel 3 client meetings because no one could find the files. "The files are all there, properly labeled and organized. It's not my fault if Victoria doesn't know how to access them." He slammed his hand on my desk. "This is unacceptable. You have obligations to Mitchell Industries." "Had obligations," I corrected calmly. "I fulfilled them all before leaving." "Check with legal. My contract had a 2-week notice provision, which I'm paying out instead of working." "Everything's in order." "Order? You took half the senior staff with you." "I didn't take anyone. They chose to leave." Apparently, working for someone with actual experience was more appealing than staying under Victoria's leadership. His face darkened. "You're trying to sabotage your sister." "No, Dad. I'm trying to succeed on my own merits, something you never gave me the chance to do at Mitchell Industries. We gave you everything. A position, responsibility. You gave me work without recognition, responsibility without authority, a position without respect." I stood up, matching his stance. "You want to know why people followed me here? Because I earned their loyalty. Victoria hasn't earned anything except your unconditional support. She has vision. She has a Harvard degree and your last name. Let's see how far that takes her." He stepped back, studying me as if seeing me for the first time. "You really think you can compete with us? Mitchell Industries will crush your little startup." I smiled, remembering all the lessons he taught me about business. Lessons he seemed to have forgotten when it came to Victoria. "The Anderson merger team is here because they trust me. How many other clients do you think will follow when they realize Victoria can't answer basic questions about their accounts?" That hit home. He knew as well as I did that Victoria had never bothered to learn the operational side of the business. She could charm at parties and give inspiring speeches about innovation, but she couldn't rate a financial statement if her life depended on it. "Name your price," he said finally. "Whatever it takes to bring you, and everyone else, back." It was never about money, Dad. It was about respect, recognition, the chance to lead based on ability, not birth order. "Emily, you should get back to the office." I cut him off. "I'm sure Victoria needs help finding those files." After you left, James whistled low. That was intense. "It's not over," I said, checking my phone. 27 missed calls. Dozens of messages. This is just the beginning. I was right. By the end of the week, The business community was buzzing with news of the mass exodus from Mitchell Industries. Victoria gave a disastrous interview to the local business journal, unable to answer basic questions about company operations. The stock price dipped as investors questioned the wisdom of appointing an inexperienced CEO. Meanwhile, Summit Enterprises hit the ground running. My team knew their jobs, knew our clients, knew how to deliver results. We were lean, hungry, and had something to prove. The Anderson deal closes next week, James reported during our first official staff meeting. They're bringing 2 more clients with them. Apparently, Victoria's vision didn't inspire much confidence. I looked around the conference room at the faces of people who had taken a chance on me. They'd left secure positions at an established company to join a startup, all because they believed in real leadership over empty titles. Their latest press release calls us disgruntled former employees attempting to undermine our respective family business. Sarah mentioned, reading from her tablet. I laughed. Disgruntled? I'm happier than I've been in years. That evening, as I was reviewing client proposals, my mother appeared at my office. Unlike my father's angry entrance, she came bearing gifts, a potted plant for my new space, an olive branch of sorts. This is nice, she said, looking around. Small, but nice. It suits our needs, I replied neutrally. Did Dad send you? No, though he's worried. Victoria's struggling. Emily, she needs your help. She needs experience, Mom. Real experience, not just a degree and a title. My mother sighed, sinking into a chair. I don't understand why you had to leave. You could have worked together, supported each other. Like Victoria supported me? Like you and Dad supported my career? This isn't about sibling rivalry, Mom. This is about building something authentic, something earned. We always supported you. No, you tolerated me. You used my work ethic when it benefited the company, but dismissed my ambitions when they didn't match your plans for Victoria. She fiddled with her wedding ring, a nervous habit I remembered from childhood. Your father is prepared to offer you a partnership, equal standing with Victoria. Too late. I'm not interested in being anyone's partner. Summit is mine, built on merit, run on principles I believe in. You're breaking your father's heart. No, Mom. Dad broke my heart years ago. Every time he overlooked my contributions in favor of Victoria's potential. Every time he dismissed my achievements because they didn't fit his narrative. She stood, smoothing her designer dress. I hope you know what you're doing. The business world isn't kind to people who betray family. I didn't betray anyone. I set myself free. I gestured to the door. Thank you for the plant. After she left, I walked to the window, looking out at the city skyline. The Mitchell Industries building dominated the view, its logo illuminated against the darkening sky. For so long, that building had represented everything I wanted: success, recognition, a chance to lead. Now it just looked like a gilded cage, beautiful but confining. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Daddy says you're being difficult. Just come back and work for me. I'll even let you keep your old office. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I sent a group message to my team. Dinner's on me tonight. Let's celebrate our first week as Summit Enterprises. Because that's what real leaders do. They celebrate their team's success, not just their own title. The Mitchell name might open doors, but Summit would walk through them. And I couldn't wait for tomorrow. 3 months after founding Summit Enterprises, I sat in our expanded office space, reviewing our latest quarterly reports. What had started as a risky venture had blossomed into something remarkable. We'd not only retained the Anderson merger, but had also secured 5 additional major clients, all drawn by our reputation for excellence and hands-on leadership. Emily? Sarah knocked on my door. You need to see this. She handed me the morning's business journal. There on the front page was a photo of Victoria looking distinctly uncomfortable behind our father's old desk. The headline made me pause. Mitchell Industries reports record losses, board questions new leadership. I skimmed the article, taking in phrases like significant client departure and concerns over inexperienced management. It wasn't surprising. Victoria had spent her first quarter as CEO redecorating offices and giving interviews about innovation while neglecting the actual business. There's more, Sarah said, pulling up an email on her tablet. 3 more Mitchell Industries department heads reached out about joining us. I shook my head. We can't keep hiring from Mitchell. It looked like we're deliberately poaching. They're coming to us, Emily. Word's gotten out about our profit-sharing program and merit-based promotion system. People want to work where their efforts are recognized. Before I could respond, James burst in. Emergency board meeting at Mitchell Industries. Victoria's leadership is under review. I leaned back in my chair, feeling conflicted. Part of me felt vindicated. The board was finally seeing what I had known all along. But another part remembered growing up in that company, watching my grandfather build it, knowing how many families depended on its success. Should we do something? Sarah asked. No, I replied firmly. This is their problem to solve. We focus on Summit. But the universe had other plans. That evening, as I was leaving the office, I found my father waiting by my car. We need to talk, he said, looking older than I had ever seen him. I gestured to a nearby coffee shop. Let's get out of the cold. Over steaming cups of coffee, my father did something I'd never seen before. He admitted he was wrong. The board is meeting tomorrow to discuss removing Victoria as CEO, he said, staring into his cup. They're right, she's not ready. She was never ready, Dad, you just couldn't see it. He nodded slowly. No, I couldn't, or wouldn't. Your mother and I, we always protected Victoria, made things easier for her. We thought we were helping. You weren't. You were setting her up for failure by never letting her earn anything on her own. Like we did with you. He met my eyes. Always expecting more, never acknowledging what you achieved. I felt years of hurt bubble up. You know what the difference is, Dad? Every time you knocked me down, I got back up stronger. I learned, adapted, worked harder. Victoria never had to do any of that. The board wants you back, he said quietly, as CEO. I nearly choked on my coffee. What? They've seen what you've built with Summit in just 3 months. They want that kind of leadership at Mitchell Industries. And Victoria. She'll be offered a position more suited to her skills. Public relations, maybe. I sat back, letting this sink in. For years, I dreamed of hearing those words, of my father and the board finally recognizing my abilities. But now, I can't, I said finally. Can't or won't. Both. Summit isn't just a company to me, Dad. It's proof that success can be earned, not inherited. Every client we have chose us based on merit. Every employee came because they believe in real leadership. Mitchell Industries is your heritage, he argued. No, it's Victoria's heritage. She got it by birthright. Summit is my legacy. I built it myself. He was quiet for a long moment. The board meets at 9 tomorrow. At least consider it. I drove home that night with my mind racing. The offer was tempting, CEO of Mitchell Industries, the position I'd worked toward for so long. But something felt wrong about it. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Is it true? They're making you CEO. I pulled over to respond. They offered. I haven't accepted. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, I'm sorry. I should have seen how hard you worked all those years. It was the first genuine thing she'd said to me in months. Another text followed. I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted to make Dad proud. I thought about Victoria, about the pressure of being the favored child, about never having to face real challenges or overcome genuine obstacles. I know, I texted back. But real pride comes from earning success, not being handed it. The next morning, I called an early meeting at Summit. Looking around at my team, people who had taken a chance on a new company because they believed in authentic leadership, I knew I'd made the right decision. Mitchell Industries offered me the CEO position, I announced. Murmurs rippled through the room. James sat forward. Are you taking it? No, I smiled at their surprised faces. Summit isn't just a company, it's a statement. That true success comes from merit, not names. That leadership is earned, not inherited. That we succeed or fail based on our own efforts, not family connections. The relief in the room was palpable. These people hadn't just followed me, they believed in what Summit represented. Later that day, I met with the Mitchell Industries board to deliver my decision personally. I'm honored by the offer, I told them, but I have to decline. Summit Enterprises is where I belong. We could merge the companies, one board member suggested. Keep the Mitchell name but implement your leadership style. I shook my head. Summit needs to stay independent. As a reminder that success can be built from scratch, that merit matters more than names. As I left the Mitchell Industries building for what felt like the last time, I ran into Victoria in the lobby. I heard you turn them down, she said. I did. I wouldn't have. I'd have taken the victory lap, rubbed everyone's noses in it. I smiled. That's why Summit is succeeding and Mitchell Industries needs new leadership. She flinched but nodded. Teach me? Not about being CEO. I get that I'm not ready. But about really learning the business from the ground up. It was the first time she ever asked for help instead of demanding it. Start with the mailroom, I suggested. That's where I began. Learn every department, understand every process, earn respect instead of expecting it. Like you did. Like everyone should. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed with a message from my father. You've made your point, and made me proud, even if I was too blind to see it before. I smiled, typing back. Thanks, Dad. But I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't taking what was denied to you. It's building something better all on your own. 1 year after declining the CEO position at Mitchell Industries, I stood at the podium of the annual Business Leadership Awards, accepting the Entrepreneur of the Year award. Summit Enterprises had grown from a startup to a major industry player, with offices in 3 cities and a reputation for excellence that attracted clients from across the country. Success isn't inherited. I said into the microphone, looking out at the crowd. It's built through dedication, hard work, and the courage to believe in yourself, even when others don't. In the audience, I spotted my father and mother. For the first time, they were here to celebrate my achievement, not compare it to Victoria's potential. Next to them sat Victoria herself, looking different in her business casual attire, a far cry from the designer suits she used to wear. After starting in the mailroom at Mitchell Industries, she'd worked her way through every department, learning the business from the ground up. The board had appointed an experienced CEO from outside the family, and Victoria was finally doing what she should have done years ago, earning her place. After the ceremony, my parents approached, my mother's eyes glistening with tears. That was quite a speech, my father said, his voice gruff with emotion. I meant every word, I replied. We know, my mother said softly. We should have seen it sooner, how special you were, how capable. We were so focused on protecting Victoria that we never realized we were holding you both back. Victoria joined us, clutching a folder. Emily, do you have a minute? I want to show you something. We found a quiet corner away from the crowd. She opened the folder, revealing financial reports and project proposals. I've been working on this for months, she explained. A new direction for Mitchell Industries International Division. I did all the research myself, ran the numbers, built the relationships. No shortcuts, no relying on the family name. I reviewed the documents, impressed despite myself. The work was thorough, the analysis sound. This wasn't the old Victoria who expected things to be handed to her. It's good, I said. Really good. Thanks to you, she smiled wryly. Getting knocked off that pedestal was the best thing that could have happened to me. I finally understood what you've been trying to tell me all those years, that real success feels different when you earn it. James appeared with Sarah, both grinning. Sorry to interrupt, but we just got the call. The Singapore deal is confirmed. This was huge. Summit's first major international expansion, won through a competitive bid against several larger firms, including Mitchell Industries. Victoria laughed. I heard about that. Beat us fair and square. Dad was actually proud of you, you know. Said it proved he taught you well. He didn't teach me that, I corrected. I learned it by watching him underestimate me. Later that evening, at the celebratory dinner, my father stood to make a toast. The restaurant was filled with Summit employees, family members, and even a few Mitchell Industries staff who had remained friends with both companies. To Emily, he said, his voice carrying across the room, who taught me the most valuable lesson of my career, that true leadership can't be inherited, only earned. I spent years trying to create a legacy through titles and names, but she built something far more valuable. A culture of merit and authentic achievement. I raised my glass, meeting his eyes. There was pride there now, real pride, not the conditional approval he used to offer. My mother squeezed my hand under the table. I've been thinking about what you said last month about Summit starting a mentorship program for young businesswomen. We're launching it next quarter, I confirmed, helping talented people succeed based on ability, not connections. I'd like to help, she said. If you'll let me. I've learned a lot this past year of the difference between supporting someone and enabling them. Victoria joined the conversation. The board voted yesterday. I'm being promoted to head of international operations. Earned it this time through actual work and results. Congratulations, I said sincerely. You deserve it. Thanks to you showing me what that really means. As the evening wound down, I found myself on the restaurant's terrace, looking out at the city lights. James joined me, carrying 2 glasses of champagne. Quite a year, he observed, handing me a glass. Quite a transformation, I agreed. Not just Summit, but everything. Your father asked me today if we ever consider a strategic partnership with Mitchell Industries. Not a merger, but a collaboration on certain projects. I considered this. A year ago, I would have rejected the idea outright. But now? Maybe, I said. As equals this time, no family favors, no inherited advantages. Just 2 companies working together based on merit. Speaking of merit, James grinned. Wait until tomorrow's paper. Summit's market valuation just exceeded Mitchell Industries for the first time. I laughed. That's not why we did this. No, but it's a nice validation that doing things the right way pays off. Inside, I could see my family mingling with Summit employees. The old hierarchy dissolved. Victoria was deep in conversation with Sarah about operational efficiencies. My father was listening intently to one of our junior analysts explain a new market strategy. My mother was taking notes during a discussion of the mentorship program. You know what the best revenge is? I asked James. What's that? Success that comes from being true to yourself. We didn't win by playing their game. We won by creating our own rules. To Summit, he raised his glass. To earn success, I corrected. My phone buzzed, another major client wanting to schedule a meeting. Summit's reputation for excellence had spread, drawing business not because of a family name, but because of proven results. I looked through the window at my family again, seeing how much had changed. Victoria had found her own path to success, one she actually earned. My parents had learned the difference between protecting and stifling. And I had built something authentic, something that reflected my values and validated my beliefs about merit and achievement. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in proving others wrong, but in proving yourself right. Summit wasn't just a company, it was a testament to the power of believing in yourself, of refusing to accept artificial limitations, of building success on a foundation of genuine accomplishment rather than inherited privilege. As I rejoined the celebration inside, I caught my reflection in the window. I saw not the overlooked daughter or the underestimated sister, but a leader who had transformed rejection into triumph, disappointment into determination, and doubt into success. That was the real victory, not just succeeding, but succeeding on my own terms.